Good morning, everybody. Figured I'd go live today, being that Thanksgiving is not that far. I think it's, God dang, it was a week from yesterday is when Thanksgiving is here in the U.S. So, figured I'd tell you guys the history of Thanksgiving, just like I told you guys the history of Halloween. But also, important announcement before we get started. Excuse me. I had to, hi Armageddon, I had to get a job. I'll be working overnights at the place that I used to work. And I had to get this job because my grandma sadly passed away on Halloween. In case you guys weren't watching the last stream, my grandma passed away on Halloween. And I inherited her car. So, yeah. So that's why I had to get a job so I could pay for that and pay for, and other bills are getting more and more expensive. So as the years progress, which isn't right in my viewpoint, but yeah, whatever. Thank you, Armageddon. So where I want to get this information at is history.com. Basically, the History Channel. Okay, that's okay. Have a good day at work, Armageddon. Okay, so the history of Thanksgiving, okay? And there are 7 parts to this, so this might take a while. So Thanksgiving Day is a national holiday in the United States, and Thanksgiving 2023 occurs on Thursday, November 23rd. Okay. So that's next Thursday. In 1621, the Plymouth colonists from England and the Native American Wampanoag people shared an autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrations in the colonies. For more than 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonies and states. It wasn't until 1863, and in the midst of the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a National Thanksgiving Day to be held each November. But the holiday is not without controversy. Many Americans, including people of Native American ancestry, believe Thanksgiving celebrations mask the true history of oppression and bloodshed that underlies the relationship between European settlers and Native Americans. Thanksgiving at Plymouth. In September 1620, a small ship called the Mayflower left Plymouth, England, carrying 102 passengers, an assortment of religious separatists seeking a new home where they could freely practice their faith, and other individuals lured by the promise of prosperity and land ownership in the New World. After a treacherous and uncomfortable crossing that lasted 66 days, they dropped anchor near the tip of Cape Cod, far north of their intended destination at the mouth of the Hudson River. 1 month later, the Mayflower crossed Massachusetts Bay, where the Pilgrims, as they were now commonly known, began to work of establishing a village at Plymouth. Throughout the first brutal winter, most of the colonists remained on board the ship, where they suffered from exposure, scurvy, and outbreaks of contagious disease. Only half the Mayflower's original passengers and crew lived to see their first New England spring. In March, the remaining settlers moved ashore, where they received an astonishing visit from a member of the Abenaki tribe, who greeted them in England. Sorry if I mispronounced anything. Okay, just oops. Sorry in advance. God, my hair looks like crap right now. I didn't brush it before. Oh well. Several days later, he returned with other Native. Starting again. Mm-hmm. Several days later, he returned with another Native American, Squanto, a member of the Pawtucks tribe who had been kidnapped by an English sea captain and sold into slavery before escaping to London and returning to his homeland on an exploratory expedition. Squanto taught the Pilgrims, weakened by malnutrition and illness, how to cultivate corn, extract sap from maple trees, catch fish in the rivers, and avoid poisonous plants. He also helped the settlers forge an alliance with the Wampanoag, a local tribe, which endured more than 50 years and remained one of the sole examples of harmony between European colonists and Native Americans. When was the first Thanksgiving? In November 1621, after the Pilgrims' first corn harvest provided successful, Governor William Bradford organized a celebratory feast and invited a group of the flagging colony Native American allies, including the Wampanoag chief Massasoit, now remembered as America's first Thanksgiving. Although the Pilgrims themselves may not have used the term at the time, the feast lasted for 3 days. While no record exists of the first Thanksgiving's exact menu, much of what we know about what happened at the first Thanksgiving comes from Pilgrim Chronicle Edward Winslow, who wrote, historians have suggested that many of the dishes were likely prepared using traditional Native American spices and cooking methods. Because the Pilgrim had no oven and the Mayflower's sugar supply had dwindled by the fall of 1621, the meal did not feature pies, cakes, and other desserts, which have become a hallmark of contemporary celebrations. Origins of Thanksgiving national holiday. Pilgrims held their second Thanksgiving celebration in 1623 to mark the end of a long drought that had threatened the year's harvest and prompted Governor Bradford to call for a religious fast. Days of fasting and Thanksgiving on an annual or occasional basis became common practice in other New England settlements as well. During the American Revolution, the Continental Congress designed one or more days of Thanksgiving a year, and in 1789, George Washington issued the first Thanksgiving proclamation by a national government of the United States. In it, he called upon Americans to express their gratitude for a happy conclusion to the country's War of Independence and the successful ratification of the U.S. Constitution. His successor, John Adams and James Madison, also designed days of thanks during their presidencies. In 1817, New York became the first of several states to officially adopt an annual Thanksgiving Day, which celebrated it on a different day, however, and the American South remained largely unfamiliar with the tradition. In 1827, the noted magazine editor and prolific writer Sarah Josephina Hale, author among countless other things of the nursery rhyme Mary Had a Little Lamb, launched a campaign to establish Thanksgiving as a national holiday. For 36 years, she published numerous editorials and sent scores of letters to governors, senators, presidents, and other politicians, earning her the nickname Mother of Thanksgiving. Abraham Lincoln
No, these are my curls. Yeah, that's what curls do, Mom.
I got it's a Jasper, everybody. And he's here and gone again. It's a Jasper. It's a Jasper. He's so lovely. He's so lovely. Oh, look at him. Oh, we all love him. He's a good boy.
Get out! Why? The kittens know I can't chase them as well as I can chase Jasper.
Oh, I saw Sylvester in the house when I woke up.
He really snuck back in.
After Alyssa left.
Wow. God damn it, Oreo.
I just leave the door open ajar. He'll leave when he wants to.
You're not supposed to be in here.
He'll leave when he wants to, though. He knows he's not supposed to be in here, but got him. A+. Smart cat. Okay, sorry. At least you guys got a little cat. You guys got to see Jasper. Again, for like the millionth time. Okay. He scheduled Thanksgiving for the final Thursday in November, and it was celebrated on that day every year until 1939, when Franklin D. Roosevelt moved the holiday up a week in an attempt to spur retail sales during the Great Depression. Roosevelt's plan, known diversely as Franksgiving, was met with passionate opposition, and in 1941, the president reluctantly signed a bill making Thanksgiving the fourth Thursday in November, making it the last Thursday in November. Thanksgiving food. In many American households, Thanksgiving celebration has lost much of its original religious significance. Instead, it now centers on cooking and sharing a bountiful meal with family and friends. Turkey, a Thanksgiving staple so sumptuous it has become all but synonymous with the holiday, may or may not have been on offer when the Pilgrims hosted the feast in 1621. Today, however, nearly 90% of Americans eat the bird, whether roasted, baked, or deep fried, on Thanksgiving, according to the National Turkey Federation. Other traditional foods include stuffing, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, and pumpkin pie. Volunteering is a common Thanksgiving Day activity, and communities often hold food drives and host free dinners for the less fortunate. Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Parades have also become an integral part of the holiday in cities and towns across the United States. Presented by Macy's department store in 1924, the New York City's Thanksgiving Day Parade is the largest and most famous, attracting some 2.3 million spectators along its 2.5-mile route and drawing an enormous television audience. It typically features marching bands, performers, elaborate floats conveying various celebrities, and giant balloons shaped like cartoon characters. Beginning in the mid-20th century, and perhaps even earlier, the President of the United States has pardoned one or two Thanksgiving turkeys each year sparing the birds from slaughter and sending them to a farm for retirement. A number of U.S. governors also perform this annual turkey pardoning ritual. Thanksgiving controversies. For some scholars, the jury is still out on whether the feast at Plymouth really constituted the first Thanksgiving in the United States. Indeed, historians have recorded their ceremonies of thanks among European settlers in North America that predate the Pilgrim celebration. In 1565, for instance, the Spanish explorer Pedro Mendez de Avil, sorry, mispronounced it, I'm American, not Spanish, invited invited members of the local Timpecula tribe to the dinner in St. Augustine, Florida. After holding a mass to thank God for his crew's safe arrival. On December 4th, 1619, when 38 British settlers reached a site known as Berkeley 100 on the banks of Virginia's James River, they read a proclamation designing the date as a day of thanksgiving to Almighty God. Some Native Americans may... God, I swear, I probably need new glasses. Probably new phone too. There's a crack going down it. Some Native Americans and many others take issue with how the Thanksgiving story is presented to the American public and especially to school children. In their view, the traditional narrative paints a deceptively sunny portrait of relations between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people, masking the long and bloody history of conflict between Native Americans and European settlers that resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands. Since 1970, protesters have gathered on the day designed as Thanksgiving and at the top of Coles Hill, which overlooks Plymouth Rock, to commemorate the National Day of Mourning. Similar events are held in other parts of the country. Thanksgiving's ancient origins. Although the American concept of Thanksgiving developed in the colonies of New England, its roots can be traced both to Native Americans as well as back to other sides of the Atlantic. Both the separates who came over on the Mayflower and the Puritans who arrived soon after brought with them a tradition of provincial holidays, days of fasting during difficult or provincial moments, and days of feasting and celebration to thank God in times of plenty. As a national celebration of harvest and its bounty, moreover, Thanksgiving falls under a category of festivals that spans cultures, continents, and millennia. In ancient times, the Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans feasted and paid tribute to their gods after the fall harvest. Thanksgiving also bears a resemblance to an ancient Jewish harvest festival of Sukkot, whatever. Finally, historians have noted that Native Americans have a rich tradition of commemorating the fall harvest with feasting and merrymaking long before Europeans set foot on America's shores. And that's it. Didn't take as long as I thought. I figured this would be, but this is concise. I like this. That's why I like the history.com. So that is the history of Thanksgiving. Tell me what your favorite way is to cook your turkey down in the comments. If you guys even have turkey, some people do a ham for Thanksgiving. Some people go completely outside the box and do other things, like they make chicken or, maybe they just eat whatever. I mean, you don't have to have a great big old huge feast, I don't think. It could be just another day for a lot of people. I know a lot of people have to work on Thanksgiving. As I told you guys, I got my job back. So if I remember correctly, I don't want to get up and get it, but I think I have Thanksgiving off this year. So yeah, which is nice of her. She didn't have to, but since I'm only working 2 to 3 days a week, and yes, that's considered full time for a CNA, working 12 hours. So yeah, that was the history of Thanksgiving. Tell me what you guys do down in the comment section below. And I will see you guys later. Okay, peace.